Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Yinzer Brothers podcast. I'm TJ. I'm here with my most excellent brother, Tim, and we are the Yinzer Bros. Tim is wearing the Victory Franco's Italian Army helmet because we had a victory, baby. Now, the helmet didn't make it to Vegas. We had quite a week, guys. We were
Can
in
you
Vegas.
imagine? Can you imagine me wearing this helmet out in Vegas in that heat?
Dude, it'd be like you wearing a frying pan out there. It was so hot out there.
This thing would have collected so much heat. You could have fried an egg on my head.
You could have. I mean, we forgot that you're in the desert. And Tim and I, we spent as much time indoors as we could, but there were a few times we had to make some jaunts outside. Like we had to go to the stadium. We went to this ridiculously crazy Steelers tailgate thing that was like supposed to be right next to the stadium. Ended up being like, what, Tim, 15 miles away? I don't know.
There's no way. If we wouldn't have found that rickshaw guy, I would still be on a street somewhere dead in Vegas.
You would be. You'd look like a raisin. You'd be like one of those California raisins.
Unbelievably hot.
So, I mean, we're in Vegas, and the cool thing about being in Vegas, not only did we get to see our team, but we saw a victory. The Steelers beat the Raiders 23-18. It was a crazy week. So, Tim, what were some of your biggest moments from the game there at, what was it, Allegiant Stadium?
From the game? I mean, yeah. It was like a Yinzer palooza there.
It was.
I mean, I'm thinking that's where Yinzers go to die, Alliance Stadium. So what was my highlights, man? I mean, I'll be truthful, man. My biggest highlight was getting that stadium out of the heat from outside because as we were waiting in line, the heat coming off that glass of that Darth Vader stadium was unbelievable.
It was hot.
It was like Tim versus the sun, and the sun was up 1-0 immediately.
It was hot, man. It was hot. And it was crazy. So you're in there and it's like you get all the celebrity vibe. Like, what was the chick? What was her name that did the national anthem?
Jordan Sparks, I believe.
Jordan Sparks. And then Lil Wayne did the halftime show.
You weren't a fan of Lil Wayne, were you?
No, there's nothing there I want. I'm sorry. You can keep Lil Wayne.
I was a big fan of the Lil Wayne halftime show. I can only imagine how, I mean, that is not the what do they call them? The Isley brothers, or the who are they in Pittsburgh? The famous people, the Donnie brothers that perform all the time.
Yeah, the Isley brothers. That's it. Yeah.
Wasn't the Isley brothers, but I mean, it was Lil Wayne was rocking the stage.
And they had a lot of celebrities there. Don't get me wrong. My personal favorite, I enjoyed. They actually had a house band.
That was cool
in the stadium. That was cool, and they played that In the Air Tonight, which was awesome. Yeah. Like live, that was cool. Yeah. They gave us all these crazy wristbands. They did all this really weird LED stuff. So as spectators, we were part of the show.
It was amazing because none of the Yinzers knew what those things even were. They were looking at them like they were pieces from outer space. They were like, "What are these things? Blinky things."
That technology. We're still, the Yinzers are back in like 2013. We're not.
And I will say this too, man. Raider fans, the ones that were there. They are drinkers. They were drunk as a skunk.
They were. And I'm sorry. Is there a worse cheer in football than Raiders?
I had to hear that. Every time they said it, it sounded like sadness coming from somebody's voice. Raid. I thought I was gonna start crying. I'm like, get out of here.
It sounded. You remember seeing like how the Grinch Stole Christmas, and when the Grinch takes all the presents and they're around the tree and they're going, you.
So it
sounded like that. It sounded like the Grinch took all their stuff. It was awful.
It was terrible. That, and like I said, the stadium was great. It was nice and air. The seats were wonderful. I would say our seats were spectacular.
They were amazing.
Great seats. Seeing TJ Watt up close like that, big, humongous monster. I will say, getting a beer and 2 waters and that being $40 wasn't the highlight of my night.
Welcome to Vegas, Tim. Welcome to Vegas.
The one thing that I was impressed, and this is probably the dumbest thing to say, truthfully, the most impressive thing in that whole entire stadium to me, everything was nice. The bathrooms were immaculate.
They were very clean. Very clean. Everything there was clean. I was shocked. Yeah. The stadium was clean. The bathrooms were clean. Everything was clean. It was nuts. No, I agree. One of my favorite moments was, we're in an enemy stadium, and you watch TJ Watt pumping up the crowd, and to see the Raiders have to go to a silent count in their own stadium because they can't hear. to me was like a highlight of the game. I thought this is
Gotta be
great.
humbling.
Oh,
Gotta
it
be
is
humbling.
humbling. It's very humbling. I think it was, for me too. It was good to see Kenny get back on track. He had that bomb to Austin, which was
Yep.
great. He had that flip to Fryermuth. He looked better. Probably his best game. Gaining some steam. Let's hope he builds on that. And
Yeah.
I got to say this: the game plan wasn't incredibly awful. It wasn't great, but it wasn't as bad as it could have been.
Yeah,
The
I
de-
mean,
the defense
that
is lights
defense,
out, dude. It's
they were
lights out.
lights out, except when it came to 17. 17, it was like
Yeah.
he might have just been running jailbreak around the whole entire field. You're going.
It
I'm
looked like
going,
an
"What?"
old Madden game. Like he was just running around like Tecmo Bowl. Like you couldn't stop him.
That was the only. All they had to do was cover 17, and that game
Yeah.
wouldn't even been close. And I kept saying it too, which was awful. I think we were put 23-6 at half or something like that.
Yeah.
And what did I say at that time? I was like, I know, every Steeler fan in this place knows this is going to come down to a one possession game at the end of the game.
You did. Tim
And that's
called it.
exactly what happened.
It did. Timmy called it. No, he did.
And I will say, I believe my prediction of the offensive player. We probably could have. I mean, Kenny could have picked it, but Austin blew the top off that defense.
He did. He did.
Yeah.
Dude, he is fast. Gosh, is he fast. And
Yes, he is.
and Kenny hit him. That was a beautiful play, for him to hit him.
So, other than the game, what was your best thing of the whole entire Vegas weekend?
Probably, I mean, other than being with you, Tim, that was great.
Of course.
But Vegas is like, it's on all the time. So anywhere you go, there's people there. I mean, when you breathe, there's people there.
Yes.
So probably, I got to say this, as crazy as it was. So Tim and I, we signed up for this Yinzer tailgate party. That was like, we didn't know it was like 14 miles away. It was supposed to be right next to the stadium. So we start walking, it's 90 degrees. And Tim mentioned this a little bit earlier, and we're not going to make the walk. And somehow Tim flags down this little rickshaw, this little bike guy. And I felt bad. That kid couldn't have been more than 120 pounds, Tim.
He did. When we jumped on that thing, I was like, this guy's gonna move 3 pedals and be like, get off.
Well, it's funny. That bike was making the craziest noises too. It was clicking, it was wheezing, it was straining. And you know what? Getting to that on that rickshaw, and he was like bananas, going there and coming back. I thought a few times I was afraid for my life. I thought we're not going to make it.
That dude was high as a kite.
Oh,
He
I'm
was
sure he
high
was.
as a kite.
I'm sure that's the only thing that could give you the fuel that you need. But doing that, I mean, it was good to be with the Yinzers at the tailgate, but the tailgate was a disappointment to me.
Yeah.
They had all this food, all this stuff coming in. They have nothing. I think I had a bag of chips and I don't know, a bag of M&Ms. That's all I could find.
Yeah.
You're scrounging for stuff. So I think that was my moment. And I got to also say the moment in the stadium, it just is typified Raiders fans. When the dude got mad at the call and he chucked a beer and hit that kid in the head, I don't understand. I don't understand that. Who does that?
That was, and I was good for the Raiders people. I think they got that guy out immediately because they probably were thinking, this dude isn't going to get out of this stadium alive. How many Steeler fans were there?
And by the way, too, guys, just so you know, not only the Yinzer bros inform people, but we're also good eggs. So literally, this happened. We're getting ready to get on the elevator. You remember this, Tim? And there's an older woman there in a wheelchair.
Yes.
And we watch her, and she can't get on the elevator, mainly because of the idiot Raider fans, I believe. I mean, there were some Yinzers were there, but she was there. I mean, I'm not saying that we had a special obligation to help her, but she did have a Steeler little pocketbook. So we leaned down. We're like, "Ma'am, do you need help to get on this elevator?" And she looked up. She says, "Man, it'd be great if you could help us." So your boys, the Yinzer Bros, we created a path with our wide Greek rear ends, got her on that elevator, and not only she was just so happy, but there was a little tear in her eye. Tim caused her to cry.
We ran the counter tray right into the elevator. It was incredible.
We did that.
I pulled around the guard, and we
got her on there. We got her on. Yeah. So it was part Steelers offense and part touched by an angel, Tim. We were angels in Vegas.
It was.
So those were my moments. I'll tell you what, one of the most, we had a great steak one night too. And as we're there doing our stuff, we see Marcus Allen walking out. Still a stud.
Dude.
That dude. He play tomorrow.
Yeah. If I say I got 4 plays, that dude's got he's got about 12 carries in him.
Oh, without a doubt. You saw Seymour was there too. He's a large
He's a big human.
Large human. That was cool. And you got to say this. I mean, I really enjoyed the experience at the stadium and stuff like that. I mean, it was basically like a Steeler home game. So I think all of it. What was your big moment? Did you have any big moments?
TJ, the tops for me, and it just was so funny, was meeting Lev Bell that first time and getting that selfie.
I forgot Lev Bell. How can you forget Lev Bell?
The picture from Lev Bell that we got the selfie. Like I said, I think I said a lot. We look like two Muppets that just capped that just we took Lev Bell and just like, hey, we just he was our guy for the second. We look like two Muppets. We did.
We did. It was great.
That was good. And I it was cool at the steakhouse seeing all some of those famous old Raider guys. That was pretty cool. And I will definitely say, man, I mean, end of that game when it not in the game, but you said the TJ Watt thing when that happened, that was cool, man. When the crowd, it was like the only thing they were missing, truthfully, was playing Renegade. That was it.
That's true.
That was it.
That's true.
So,
if they could have pulled that off, it'd have been great.
It was a good time, man. I had a very, very good time. I think even if they would have lost, that still would have been a great time. It was a fun weekend, man.
Yeah, but the win was the cherry on the top of the sundae. So it was good. I think we had a great time. So now we put the Raiders behind us and we look forward to the Texans. Texans are not a great team. Yeah, but they did have a win against Jacksonville last week, which was a little surprising. It was more, it wasn't as much as they beat Jacksonville. Jacksonville just played terrible last week. But before we get into that game, let's take a look inside the Yinzer mailbag. What is the Yinzer mailbag, you ask? It's when you, the fans, get to ask us, the Yinzer Bros, anything you want to. You can email us at yinzerbros@gmail.com. And if you're lucky enough, your question will be put on this international podcast. Tim, what's in the Yinzer mailbag this week?
The mush, and I'm kind of disappointed with this first statement. He goes, hey, boys, we're mission in action last week. Thought there would be a live pod from the strip. Mark, if you followed the Facebook page, followed, we were doing shorts all weekend.
We were.
There was videos everywhere.
Content everywhere.
Yeah, content everywhere. So get your act together, bud.
Get on the YouTube place, take a look. I mean, I'm not making this up. There must be 30 of them on there, Tim.
Oh, yeah.
30.
Yeah, 100%. He didn't want to ask, when was the last time we were at a game together? And I think I told you, I think it was 2005 in Indianapolis on a Monday night game.
I think it was.
Where the Steelers got their doors blown off earlier in the season.
Did. And what was cool about that year was later in the year, we actually ended up beating the Colts to go to the Super Bowl.
Yes, we did.
We almost lost. Bettis fumbled that ball. We almost lost. Thank God for Ben Roethlisberger making that tackle.
Yes.
I got to say this, though. Those fans in Indianapolis were so nice. As they were beating the stuffing out of us, they were like, that's okay. If we played again, you'd beat us next time. And little did we know, they were correct, Tim.
I do want to shout out, take a step back to the one Raider fan that kept standing up every 5 seconds when the Raiders actually did something. Because every time he stood up.
He had a Stabler shirt on.
No, not that guy. There was a bigger, like.
The other guy to the right.
He would just stand up and anytime he stood up and did anything, it was disastrous for the Raiders. It was spectacular. It was like on cue. I was like, I hope this dude stands up the whole entire game. But I want to thank that guy. Wants to know how did we feel about the emergency plane landing? And that could have been the last game we've ever seen of this 2023 Steeler team.
Dude, that's nuts. So I was listening to a TJ Watt interview. Maybe you heard it. He was on Pat McAfee, and he was breaking down the whole interview. And he's like, they went to like code yellow, and he said this. He said the captain came over thing, and he said, "Stewardess, you were made for this. You were born for this." And he was like, "What does that mean?" He goes, so they all start Googling, "What's code yellow? What's code yellow?" So it was everything from like an oil leak to something, but it was pretty hairy.
I heard what I don't know if it's the long snapper was on Cam's podcast, and they asked him what he thought. He was like, while you guys were up in first class, he was like, giving you guys parachutes in case the plane went down. We're in the back with the bags, and they just told us to grab our chairs in case something goes wrong. He's like, I look to the left of me, and he goes, Calvin Austin's curled up in the ball going, "Please, Jesus, don't let it end like this." It was pretty funny.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, I would be crapping bricks, man. I fly all the time. If that happened to me, I don't know if I'd get on a plane again. I don't know.
Okay, Madden.
I'm just saying, man. Oh, man. Mush wants to know who was the big winner at the tables this weekend. I must say, Tim versus Vegas.
Tim came out on top.
Tim won. Tim came back with some cash in his pocket.
Tim, you're a winner. So I'll give that to you. We're a winner.
I was quite stunned, man.
The big winner to me was all the Yinzers. We were all winners this week.
We were all winners. We were all winners.
Even the weird ones, we were all winners.
Mush wants to know when will Deontay's return help the offense?
Yes. Is he an
mediocre?
Yes.
Of course.
Yes, of course it will. He's our number one target. Of course he will. Kenny's doing this without his number one receiver. I mean, that's just crazy.
He wants to ask this. This is a good call because we saw him live. See how you
Yeah.
think about it. Has Najee lost his quickness, or is the line that bad of blocking for the run?
I think Najee thinks he is Le'Veon Bell, and he's not. He is great when he's a bruiser and he just runs. He did this last year, and then after the bye, he changed and he started running downhill. We need him to run downhill. We just need that. He can't. He's not quick
Now,
enough to dance in the hole.
I get it, but I also saw some areas where he just there's nothing he can do.
I get it.
He's hitting. He's getting 2 guys, 3 guys hit. Before
Then
he even.
you put your head down. It takes a little bit of time for the line to gel. But there were times I watched some of the game film. He actually missed some holes, which is ridiculous to me. So you got to stay in there. This is going to be weird. I think now
it is different seeing it live, man, because you
is.
see that whole thing. You're kind of like, okay, you missed this.
Oh yeah.
Even with Kenny, you're like, okay, there's guys in the middle of the field. You miss. Yeah, I get you.
Oh yeah. So I think even like now, it sounds weird. I think the difference between him and Jalen is Jalen right now is just running with bursts straight up the field. I think if you can get there's a place for both of them. This is what I would do. I would start Jalen early, and then I'd work Najee in as well. I would save Najee for later because he's a battering ram later. When that defense gets tired, you don't want to tackle a dude of his size.
Yep.
That's just me.
I agree. He wants to know which Canadian is worse, Matt Canada or Chase Claypool.
Boy, that's a tough one. Holy crap! You talk about that's bad and worse. Oh my god!
Did you hear what he said today?
I did. He's a ridiculous. He's an idiot.
They should be building a statue of Omar somewhere for tricking. It's the Bears. Idiot. They are that franchise. Yikes! They may be the worst in the league.
So when you got like this week, you got the Bears and the Broncos going up. That's going to be a terrible game.
You should put the terrorists that we have in jail and force them to watch that game. You'll get any information out of them you deem necessary.
Oh,
if I was watching that game, my eyes would start bleeding instantly.
Oh, that's going to be a bad game.
What? They're going to be tuned in to hear the Bears are going to be all over. They're going to be watching that game like it's the Super Bowl.
Oh, it's bad. No, I don't know.
You couldn't pay me enough.
They both stink. No, I don't know who to pick.
I'd be afraid if I put that on my TV, it would break the TV.
You're probably right. You're probably right. No.
Last question. You know what? I'm not going to go that because we'll get into that when it comes to the game preview about this week's game. Last point. He wants to know how we feel about. We didn't do any recaps of the Buccos this year, and I go. All I'm going to say to Mark is this: Buccos stunk this year. Great, but you know what they did? They basically knocked the Cubs out of the playoffs. So to me, that's like winning a World Series, bub.
They did. No, they did.
All I'm going to say to that, bub. Good job, Buccos.
They finished about where they're going to. They got a great pitcher that's coming up, and then the one dude who got hurt. What's his name? Got hurt earlier in the year. The shortstop.
I don't care. They beat the Cubs and knock them out of the playoffs. I don't care. Don't care. The only thing that would make this trifecta for me even better is if somehow Pitt's scraggly old team beats Notre Dame in Notre Dame Stadium. Well, I'm sitting there and I am eye to eye with the mush, just looking at him directly into his eye like this. See eye? I'd be like, see eye? See eye? Always look eye. Always look eye.
If they keep fielding 10 players on a play, then you should be fine.
I'm gonna look. I'll be in the stadium. Look eye. Always look eye.
That's great.
That's all I got from the Yinzer bag.
All right. Well, again, if you get any questions for us, the Yinzer Bros, just email us at yinzerbros@gmail.com. And if you're lucky enough, we'll get you on the program. Let's look at the Texans. Now, the Texans, they're 1-2. They lost to Baltimore. They lost to Indy. Not great. Baltimore is an okay team. Indy's not that great of a team, but they did win over the Jags. Now, here's the challenge. I mean, they put up 37 points, but they had some weird fluky things. They had like a block field goal. This is nuts. They had a touchdown, on a kickoff, and the kid that brought it back is the heaviest person ever to return a kick for a touchdown on a kickoff.
Can
That's
you
how weird
imagine?
this was.
Can you imagine me returning a kick? It would look people will be hitting their TVs thinking their TV were broken.
They would. It was crazy. So when you look at the Texans, they're a young team, but when you look at them, you got to think of C.J. Stroud. Again, he's been doing great as a rookie, but they're not a great team. They got a bad line.
I always go back to he's an Ohio State quarterback, and they all stink.
That's true. He's struggling.
At some point in time, he will stink up the joint because they're an Ohio State quarterback. That's basically
true.
what it is.
That's true. So they got a bad O-line. Your O-line's bad when one of your shining stars.
He may be the best guy on the line this week.
I know, which is absolutely bananas.
Wouldn't
Did you hear
that
him
be
chirping too? He was like, "I'm so glad to get out of Pittsburgh." I'm like,
what a kick! For me, how big of a kick in the teeth it would be. For some odd apparent reason, I got visions of this game being close and there being a screen pass, and he's out there and he just destroys one of our linebackers. My head will just pop off. It will pop off. Just see him destroy the Hulk. I'll be like, "What the hell?" I think we're in the Matrix. Like, what just happened?
That's right. Oh my gosh, he's like Neo. So I don't know what to expect. We know they don't have a good defense.
TJ, their tackle that's going against, I think Highsmith. They haven't brought him up from the practice squad yet.
I know it's bad. It's bad.
I mean, again, I don't think they have one regular starter that they've had like all year on their line. They're all backups and third team. If they don't have 1 million sacks this week, I don't know. I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it. We're playing Baltimore the following. This is screaming a Tomlin game. Screaming a Tomlin game.
Well, let's hope it's not. So let's talk offense first. Steelers offense. What do you think the Steelers O needs to do to win the game?
I heard this on the radio today. I think Kabali said it, and I'm praying to God they don't do it. Like, I'm petrified. Canada's like, oh yeah, what we did last week worked, and then just basically running the same first 15 as they ran last week. Like the exact formations, the exact plays, just them just doing the same thing, not changing it up a bit. I'm gonna be like, what the hell happened? What do they need to do this week? They got to put up 20. If they put up 21 points, this game should be a wrap. They got to run the ball. I would like to see them run the ball.
They got to establish a run. Definitely.
Run the ball. And don't get Kenny killed. Run the ball.
Yeah. Well, I think their offense is predicated when they run the ball, then that gives Kenny a lot more options. You got play action. Even that last one to Muth, that was a nice little play action thing. Move him to the left and just hit him in the end zone. Again, there's no reason we should. Their run defense is worse than the Raiders. Now, again, we weren't like juggernauts against the Raiders, but it was better. There was a heartbeat.
I agree. So to me, I would like to see this be like a statement game from Najee. So people just quit saying, hey, he's this, he's that. Just go give me $150.
Yeah.
Control the clock. Make this a complete game, 4-quarter game from your offense. And I actually truthfully, I don't mind Herbert starting at guard because I got a feeling I like Daniels, but I got a feeling Herbert is going to be dudes are going to be mauling people. He's so big, just pushing people backwards. So I have a feeling that you're going to see a lot of runs behind him for some odd apparent reason, and I think it's going to work.
I think that'd be a great strategy. I mean, I don't think it's bad to mix up the line a little bit too, and I think they haven't been a juggernaut. So who's your offensive player of the game?
With all that being said, I'm saying Najee needs to do something. I still think it's going to be Pickens.
Yeah. Crazy
Pickens. That block that I didn't know he did in the game that I saw from the Raider game where he just basically jumped Matrix style backwards into Spillane. Unbelievable. Speaking of that, to go back there. There was a guy sitting 2 feet in front of me that had a Spillane jersey on, signed. I was like, if this ain't Spillane's dad, who the hell would get that jersey?
That's true. Got it signed. That thing's really added to the value.
This better be Papa Spillane sitting in front of me because ain't nobody getting that 41 Raiders jersey signed by Spillane. No. Unbelievable.
No.
So I'm gonna say Pickens. I'm gonna say Pickens. I think he's uncoverable. Yeah, there's gonna be one of these games where he's gonna go off for like 200 yards, and I think this is gonna be it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go out on him. I think this is the game that I think you see Pickett. Pickett's gonna go. I think Pickett's going to go north of 250, maybe even 300 yards. And I'm going to say this is his first 3-touchdown game.
3 touchdowns, all passing, maybe running.
No,
What do you
maybe one run, but just 3. He'll have 3.
Okay.
I think this is his breakout game. I think I saw things in him where I think he's settling, and I think he's going to be pinpoint. So let's flip over to the defense. What does the defense need to do to win the game?
Stop the run.
Yeah.
Pierce gets me a little nervous. He's a good running back. I will say he runs hard. You always got to stop the run, make them one-dimensional. That's kind of my big thing. You make them one-dimensional, making them pass, the kid's going to die. He won't make it through the game. He won't. I mean, he's been sacked, I think, first game 5 times and 6 times. I think nobody really got to him in Jacksonville.
Jacksonville defense is not good. No. They don't have a good defense.
They will kill that dude. Will not make it through the game. If the Steelers get up, I'm going to say 10 points. He will not make it through the game.
No, I mean they're going to pin their ears back. Well, what do you do? Who do you stop with that line? It'll be like a stuff. And I'll tell you what, Benton looked ridiculous.
Yes,
on Sunday night too. I mean, you talk about a large human. You get him back. You get Cam back, and you get these guys. You added a lot of firepower right now. I mean, he looks like a big circus bear. He's huge.
And you can tell he's playing well because Louderface isn't playing anymore. He didn't play very much at the Raider game. That dude stinks. I'm still going to go back on that guy on Twitter from when we drafted him. He told me, hey, this is a good draft pick. I'm like, you are absolutely smoking the crack pipe, buddy.
I think we're going to be fine. Even like, you're right, Stroud is a rookie QB. I heard this stat today, which is great. So Tomlin is the greatest coach when it comes to facing rookie QBs. He's 24-4. So if you're a rookie QB, you're in trouble. I mean, you got to go back to 2016 to find a rookie QB.
But doesn't all this stats and everything we're throwing out, the backup line, Tomlin being 1,000,001 against rookie quarterbacks, there's no way this team doesn't it just you're going to be sitting there in the fourth quarter like, how did this happen? going, okay, it's a must-win play in Baltimore next week. I mean, that's what you're going to be going like, oh,
I hope not. I just want a blowout. Can we just have a blowout?
Trust
Can we throw up 30? It's going to be like 30-3.
Yeah, that's what I need and what I need in my veins, so I can sit back and I can turn on Sunday Night Football, see the highlights, be like, oh, Steelers offense is waking up, wakey.
So who's your defensive player of the game?
Dude, everything points to, I mean, they're retiring J.J. Watt's number, right? Or something in the
he's going to the Hall of Honor.
T.J. Watt may break the sack record in this game for all the hell I know. Like when I say that, I'm not talking like the day of, just that day, that game sack record. He may break the NFL sack record in this game. He may get 20 sacks.
How are they going to stop him? I could see them putting him down, Stroud down 8 times. I mean, I can see that. I mean, and not even like this.
I think he's going to get sacked 10 times this game. 10 times. 10. And let me put it this way. There's going to be 10 sacks. There may be 6 on Stroud. He ain't making it through this game. Yeah. He's just not.
Who's behind him?
I have no idea. No clue. Maybe Big Bird. I don't know. Who's. What's his name? The guy with the long neck. That they replaced him with.
Big Bird.
He kind of looks like Big Bird. What's his name? He was a starter for like 2 years. It was terrible. Kid from Stanford. I don't know what the heck his name is. He stinks. But yeah, this is their backup. And that dude with his long neck, yeah, that ain't good. If he's in there, that ain't good. All that's going to be is extra space for Highsmith and Watt to just punch right into throats.
It's hard to not pick TJ, but I'll go out on the thing too. I think Mika's going to have a great game too. I can see him having 1, maybe 2 picks because, I don't think this kid has seen anything. Well, he hasn't. When you look at the defenses, Baltimore doesn't have a great defense this year.
They have an okay defense, but they're not. They don't pressure fair. Like the Steelers. No. Don't. They're swarming.
They haven't. So did you see the defensive rankings? 1 is San Francisco. 2 is Cleveland.
Cleveland's good, man.
So I mean, we faced a buzzsaw in the first 2. I mean, like it's ridiculous. So I think they're going to be the ones that are crazy. So give me a score prediction. What's your score prediction, Tim?
I want to say 31 to something, but I got to go with the reality. I think we scored 31 points one time in 4 years. Miss Canada's, but I don't know, something like that. I'm going to say 24. Say 24-3. No. 24-7.
24-7.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say 27-10. 27-6. They're going to have 2 field goals, 27-6. And
Sounds
that's
about
generous.
right.
Cool.
That sounds about right.
So we're getting ready for the game this week. The Steelers are rolling along. We got another couple weeks, and we get to the bye week. Tim, anything else you want to add to this international podcast?
I got to get that bye week, man. I'm getting exhausted already.
Tim's
I'm getting
exhausted
exhausted already. I need the bye week.
Well,
I need my body to recoup. I need to come up big for this team later on in the year. I need to get my body in shape.
You do. Just in case I got to call on those 4 snaps, Tim.
You never know.
Dear. If it gets to that, guys, everything's gone quite south if we're
What
down
if
there.
I went out there and had a magical one of those 4 plays hit and it was magical?
That'd be great.
What would you think there? Huh?
Well, I mean, magical like what? Like you would not be injured, or magical like you could. I mean, if you were to actually get the ball and start running, what would have to take place, Tim? Let's say you're on your own 35 and you got to get to that end zone.
I got to think about stuff because like I did. I think I thought I pulled a groin walking around.
You did in Vegas. In Vegas, he tweaked his groin.
Yeah. And I was just walking. We were just walking.
We were walking basically. I think we were walking from like food. Like was it like we were coming from the mall part of it, or
we were coming from the mall? I think we were going to get ice cream.
I think you're right. I think it was an ice cream injury. All right. Well, don't forget, if you like what you hear, pass it along to everybody that you know. I'm TJ. I'm here with my brother Tim, and we are the Yinzer Bros. Stay classy, Pittsburgh.
Still number 1 out here. All right.
See you guys next week.